Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to our second edition today of the Michael ALPOUGH Life, Love, and Laughter Show. I hope you were here this morning. For those who are coming in now, and then those who are coming in later, I want to welcome you because a lot of people watch this show afterwards. Today is the second of three shows. It is number 46, my 46th show starting April 1st. And now we are into May, and this is the second show of the day. The subject matter for today is basically brain wars. There is a war that you can't see, a war that's not physical. The war is mental. The war is for your mind. I'm here to help you make better decisions with your mind because someone is fighting for that mind. And when you control the mind, you control the body. And the body will do whatever the brain wants it to feel or whatever is put into it. The mind has an unlimited amount of memory. The mind has an unlimited imagination. We're all brought up in a mind world. I want to break down some of that, the way it works. Now, again, take the best and leave the rest. This is the beginning of your research. This is not the end of your research. This is the beginning of your research. So I'm going to break down to you scientifically on my understanding on the actual cycle of your brain to let you know how the physical as well as the mental aspects that come with living your life in a 24-hour cycle. So, what is the brain? Well, the brain looks like this. This is your brain from up top. This is what it looks like. No one can believe the imagination, the energy, the restored memory, the emotions, the ability to create, and the ability to imagine what it is you want for yourself. All right, let's do another thing. Let's give you a little bit of comparison. You know how they say that the brain and the gut are basically one. Now, let's look at this model. If you look down, you'll see the gut, the intestines in there. Don't they kind of look like a brain? Right? Do you see them? Don't they kind of look like a brain? Similar, isn't it? It's really kind of interesting. I've done the studies to you and done shows about how the stomach and the gut are together. Okay, kind of. They always say, remember that old line? Listen to your gut. Go on what your gut says. Well, it's true. Now, I broke down how food and how the electrical communication between the gut and the brain is, and every single part of the body is how it's connected. So I'm going to begin to give you this process so that you can start looking this stuff up yourself. Now, some of the machines I sold, PMF, had the ability, and there's machines out there that can put your brain into these type of states. All right. So I'm trying to give you the beginning of the understanding if you've never studied this before. And again, what am I here for? I'm here to talk about all the different things that you might not have heard of, things that are out there, but I'm bringing them all into a life, love, and laughter way so that it not only creates a place of comfortableness, but also a place of knowledge. That's what life's about, how to love yourself better, how laughing helps that better. Okay. So now we're going to start very simple. All right. So I'm just going to be very as simple as possible. This is a very important. So you'll notice if you've never heard this before, because you'd be surprised how many people have never heard, the most educated people who don't know this process. So I'm going to do the process of starting that so you'll understand it. Now, let's start with the understanding of what the brain waves are. Let's start at the first, which is the beta brain waves. The beta brain waves. All right, so now you're asleep. We're going to come back to that, but you're already asleep. Now you are waking up. You understand? So the moment that you wake up, beta brain waves begin the moment that your eyes open to daylight. And you have gone, you're beginning the transition between the closing of the eyes and being in the inner thought to opening your eyes, bringing in light. All right. And the light sends light to the pineal gland. All right. That's right up here in the middle of your brain right here. All right. We're going to spend a whole time on talking about the pineal gland, but pineal gland is what the most important, if not the most important gland, if not the most important thing in your body, it's your pineal gland. All right. So once that light goes through the eyes, it begins to make a serotonin gland. The serotonin goes out, and now you begin to wake up. All right. And so you're creating this bridge between sleeping and waking. And now the serotonin is bringing the outer world into the inner world, creating feelings, the physical environment, your hunger, threats, and actually consciousness actually begins. Okay. So now you get up. All right. So you get up, you get the light, the pineal gland changes. It goes from the actual, you getting up, you're able to understand what your surroundings are. Okay. So now you're into your day. All right. So you're into your day, and then so you know where you're at. All right. You know where you're at. You go through your whole day, right? All right. So then in this time is when the war is. Okay. It's when the war begins. The fight for your mind. Okay. So you got to go in there and you got to fight to get that money. You got to get up. You got to get dressed. You got to do everything. You got to watch TV. You begin to understand that this is the day. This is the surroundings that you have to deal with. And in this state is where the war is. The war for you to succeed or fail or love or lose or whatever that is. And that is what is caused where the fight is. So you want to understand how the brain works, you see, and this is that state that you're in. Now, the interesting thing that I discovered in my study is that most of these things, these brainwave patterns are not, it's mostly in the sleep process, which is what we're going to get into. But today is about how to handle in this state of mind. You see, in the state of mind, how do we look at the state of mind? Do we have love in our heart? Do we have an intention of protection? Are we reaching out to the people that we love? What matters the most? What matters the least? Is it that important that our football team, our basketball team, they're all better, and if they're not losing, we don't like them. If somebody disagrees with you, don't like them, or do you let you agree to disagree? All these things are going on during the day? It's a fight for your mind, and it's a fight for you to find peace. So what it appears here is this cycle of coming up and coming down, and what space are we going to be in to understand how it is to deal with this day? So during this place where you're coming into your consciousness from sleep is the most important time, because it's going to dictate how your day is going to go. So now we're all in this state, see, of consciousness. We're in this fully conscious. You're walking. Most people don't walk in their sleep. Most of the time, you're wide awake. All right. When you're at work, yeah, you want to fall asleep. But again, what is your environment? How are you going to handle conflict? And are you going to bring that in your subconscious and also into your sleep? Now, we spend 1/3 of our whole life sleeping. Just think about that. 8 out of the 24 hours a day is either preparing or actually sleeping. And so in my discovery here, most of this is about when you're not active, but deactivating as you learn all the things that are easy as well as difficult, as well as emotional, and how you handle that. Now, for a lot of us here, and especially me, now, this is not woe is me, but it's just a fact. I have lost so many friends in the last month, just the last month. Some of the dearest friends that you can find in the last month. That's not including the month before that, or the month before that, or the year before that. Today it's one of them days where it's just kind of, it's different. Because today's the 7th month on the anniversary of my father passing. He died October 4th, 2020. And I can always still hear his voice telling me to always get up, son. When you get knocked down, you get up. This has been the hardest losses, of course. I lost my dear Isabella and my mother. So every day, you got to get up. You have to put that aside, and you still got to keep moving. So let's talk about next is the alpha waves. So when night comes, and you're in less light, or you're going into your bedroom and you start turning off the lights, the mind starts to slow down. Okay. Now, what's going on in the brain during the day is serotonin. Okay. So serotonin is going through the mind. It gets the brain going. You're in parasympathetic. So you're up, you're moving. Okay, you're moving. And so now the body starts to slow down and you decided you're going to go to sleep. So now you're going into what's called alpha waves, which begins to switch from the serotonin to the melatonin. Okay. So from serotonin to melatonin. All right. So the melatonin is it starts to release into the brain once the daylight goes out and once you close the door. So if you want to have a great night's sleep, the best thing for you to do is to darken your room completely. No light whatsoever. You want to know how to get the best night's sleep? Be in the darkest that you can be in, and the melatonin immediately starts. So the melatonin starts even with the eyes closing. But when the eyes close, this is the beginning. But then the light can disturb you. This is why you shouldn't go to sleep with the television on. Some people say, I cannot sleep with the television. That's one of the worst things you could possibly do, is sleep with the television open, because you're still in open thought when you go. You want to quiet the surroundings in order for you to get a good night's sleep. So the serotonin it goes from the serotonin to the melatonin. So there's the old saying that Sarah in the morning, so Sarah wakes you up and Mel puts you to bed. Okay. So Sarah wakes you up and Mel puts you to bed. Okay. That's a good old line. All right. So now you're going from the outer world to back into the inner world. So the alpha is helping you fall asleep while the mind is still awake. Okay. Your mind still has to be awake to make the heart beat and to make all that good stuff going. Okay. But so now what happens is, after you start to begin to fall asleep, then what comes in is what's called theta waves. All right. So theta waves put you in the twilight, or the dream state. Okay. You know what the dream state is? The dream state is when you're conscious, you're in a dream, sort of, right? So you're in a twilight where you're kind of in between consciousness and unconsciousness. Again, start studying for yourself. I'm just opening up the door for you. Okay, the brain is extremely complicated. You're extremely complicated. The world is extremely complicated. And so the more you understand how your mind works, the more you can understand the world. Okay, and how it does affect you. Okay, so the theta waves is basically the netherworld. The netherworld is in between. They call it, in other words, the netherworld, right? And this is similar to meditation. This is why meditation is such a good thing. People do meditation, and I would always suggest, to do some type of meditation, whether or not that's breathing, just taking it 5 minutes a day, just to keep your breath. I do it numerous times a day, just because there's just so much going on. To take a deep breath and to breathe it in and just relax, closing your eyes, keeping just quiet for just a few minutes. Okay. All right. So theta puts you in a dream sleep. In a dream state. All right. Now, if you're able to bypass the dream state, you can go into what's called the delta brain waves, which is going into deep restorative sleep, meaning the body is slowed down, the mind is slowed down, And now you're in deep sleep. And this is where this part where now the brain, so to speak, the body can begin to self-heal itself, so to speak. Okay. It's a phrase, it's a term. So just to say like the brain is like a mechanic. It goes in there and does all these electrical tests, on the body. We're just talking like this. So it goes and so once you get into that, what begins to happen is the gamma waves. Okay. Gamma waves is where you after in restorative, when you're into that restorative sleep, the gamma waves begin. And this is where so to speak, the real magic can begin, when the brain can quiet down, when it can sleep, when it can dream, when it can get into that restorative state. And now the mind and the body can begin to make serious connections. These gamma brain waves is literally called the super consciousness of the mind. It goes into the sympathetic, switches on, and also converts within the parasympathetic nervous center, and it relaxes. Okay, and that pent up energy, all of a sudden, it begins to be a buildup of energy in the body, and it's like an orgasmic release. Okay, so the body is in an orgasmic release, where it releases from the body this energy that begins to go released up into the brain. Now it goes through what's called the thalamic gate. It's at the brain stem of the back of the brain, and it shoots up into the pineal gland, okay, electrifying it, energizing it. And with that, it creates more neurotransmitters into the brain, into the body, and letting the body heal. So it allows you also to release the past. You can create a better sense of presence. Okay. You wake up clearer and you wake up more positive. Okay. And so when you get up, you're in a different state. So this is how it goes, right? This is how it goes from brain waves to alpha waves to theta waves to delta waves to gamma waves. See? And then the cycle begins again. Now, this is saying it's simple. All right. There's been so many studies about the brain, but now we're talking about the brain war, because you see how complicated it is? Well, then that means how important you are. Your mind is the most important thing that you can have, because it controls everything in your body. It controls also the things that you see and don't see. You can't see how it's working in your body. You don't know how the electrical wiring is. You can only enjoy the result of it. And so what I'm hoping to do here today is to open up the new door to your mind and know how important it is. And when you're watching things that are not of your highest good, sometimes it's better to just turn them off. Because even if you're not listening, see, ladies and gentlemen, if you're sleeping with the TV on, you're not in full mode. You won't go through these cycles. You'll stay in between that little twilight area where you don't want to just be there all the time. The television can control your dream states, by the way. That's why I turned mine off long time ago, long time ago. We don't have no TVs in our room, our bedroom. Okay. There's no TV. It's not allowed. We just made that decision in our home that we don't have TVs. We have the dark. We have dark curtains. We use the dark curtains because there are times when you don't want to wake up at exactly dawn. Okay. Now there's a whole thought about waking up at dawn is the sunrise club. Okay. But if you don't want to wake up at dawn, then you want to darken your room. You want to get some dark curtains. You don't even want a crack of light coming in. So let's say you want to sleep till 7, you see? But you could wake up at 5:30 because your body becomes so sensitive to the light. And so this is how you control your environment. When you control your environment, we're also talking about controlling the environment of your mind. The most important thing is what they want from us, ladies and gentlemen, is our mind. We can't let them have our mind. Okay, we want to be able, not just as Americans, but as human beings, to make the right decision that's for ourselves as well as for our family. And that's what the main thing that counts. Now, I want you to use your brain, and I want you to find the people that you love the most. And don't let them go, because you don't know how long you're going to have them. Take this from an old guy who's still young, but who's seen a lot of pain in this world. A lot. And this is why I'm here. It's pain that got me here. Pain, not pleasure. Seeing the pain of my loved ones suffer, and the suffering causing me by seeing them in pain. Love the ones you love the most. You can't believe when, it's not until they're gone do you know how valuable they are. So make sure you know that they're valuable now. Because it doesn't matter how much money you make, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter how many cars you drive. It doesn't matter what your furniture is. It doesn't matter your bank account. It doesn't matter your political affiliation. It doesn't matter what degrees you have. The only thing left is always the ones you love and the ones who love you. So the ones who are valuable, go after them. Tell them, let's see if we can work this out. See if there's one person you can work out. You'll be better off. And you don't want to wait till you have to go to their funeral, okay? Or their memorial. Say you did everything you could beforehand. My father used to tell me, as he got up in age, he was 91, he said, son, when you get older, so many people pass, you don't even have time to go to all their funerals. You have to pick, choose, because it's so sad in that final day. If you ever been at a funeral and they play taps, whoo, it's a hard one. I love you when your mind is troubled. Fill it with love, fill it with love, fill it with love. I hope your cup runneth over. I'll be back again today at about, I think, 6:15 Pacific time. And it would be my pleasure to speak with you. I'm doing this is the second of 3 shows. And I will see you later on. Until then, I love you.